In today's video, I show you the terrain I printed out for Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Quick warning, there are going to be spoilers in the sense that you're going to see maps of this game, so if you don't want to see that, go ahead and check out some of my other videos and turn off now. Before we get started in today's video, I just want to give a shout out to some of my Patreon supporters. Bob the Beholder picked a couple of my patrons to receive the GGGG for July of 2020. Ryan was chosen to win the Alchemist Workshop. If you haven't seen my video showcasing that piece, go ahead and click here. And these are the 5 patrons who were chosen to receive a copy of the rulebook for Star Breach. Slow Death Games sent me 5 of them to give away to patrons, and so thank you so much to Slow Death Games for providing that. For August of 2020, we are giving away the game Project Elite as a thank you gift to one of the patrons. So go ahead and check out the link to my Patreon page below if it's past August and see what the current GGGG is. So when I first received the game Gloomhaven, I actually created a 3D board using Hearst Arts molds. If you want to see that, go ahead and check that out here. But recently our family went on vacation and I didn't want to haul all of that stuff. And I did purchase the Jaws of the Lion set so that I could teach a couple of my less hardcore gamer friends to play Gloomhaven. I went ahead and printed out the terrain that I needed to overlay on top of the maps. If you want to know the list of things that you need to print in order to cover all of the scenarios that's available in Jaws of the Lion, I'm going to show you this list here. But you actually don't need to follow this list. So for example, one of the scenarios has a dozen of these bookcases that you need. And instead of printing out 12 bookcases, you can readily swap in other terrain. So for example, I printed out these coffins from the original game. They're not actually in Jaws of the Lion, but you can use these in lieu of the bookshelves or some of these walls as well, again, from the base set. Feel free to substitute in any of the other terrain that you like. I did print out most of the terrain in 1.2 millimeter height, which is more detailed than my standard 0.2 millimeter height that I use for terrain. These walls also are optional, and I do have links below, as almost all of these files are free on Thingiverse. The exceptions are these summoning stones, which actually are part of a terrain pack from Mantic Games, as well as these palisades are from the Artisan Guild Amazon's Kickstarter, which I'm not sure if these are available for purchase right now, but I'll provide a link to some substitutes below. I also printed out these monster standees that has a wound tracker here below, and I just spray painted some of them yellow and white as well, and these work out super well because again, I didn't want to haul all of my proxy miniatures on our vacation trip. The doors are also from my Dragon's Rest dungeon. If you haven't seen my video about that, go ahead and click here. They are slightly larger, but any door will work with this game. I'm able to fit all of this terrain into a small shoebox size container, and because they are 3D printed, I don't worry about them banging around in a box together because they don't really scratch that easily. And I always feel like terrain really enhances a game, and that proved to be true as well. Especially the walls came in handy, as a lot of my friends who were playing for the first time had difficulty knowing where the boundaries of each room was. So these walls ended up being pretty handy. And I don't have a print list of the walls. I just printed some out randomly and placed them wherever I needed to. I also printed out these available files for all of the tokens. Even though the one that comes with the box is relatively good, this itemizes out all of the conditions into their separate piles, which is what I like about that. Interestingly, at the end of the day, even though the entry ramp into playing the game was a lot easier with Jaws of the Lion than the standard Gloomhaven box, a number of them still found it to be more complicated than what they liked, including my son. And so my hope was that this would be an entry point for him to play with me in a campaign with Gloomhaven, but he didn't necessarily like the hand management aspect of the game, and so we'll probably pick a different dungeon crawl to go through together. So thanks again for watching, and please like and subscribe. Make sure to check out my Patreon page for the next GGGG. So until next time, happy gaming and happy hobbying.